Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're going to be listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 6 decades plus of doing great things in our county, whether it's food insecurity, financial literacy, working Alzheimer's, the arts, and all that. These guys are always involved in phenomenal causes. Just so thrilled to have in the studio with us today, Dr. Mark Sanchez. He's the Superintendent President of Southwestern College, one of the nation's finest colleges, and just honored to have you, Mark. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me, Drew.
Well, listen, the content that you folks do and the impact and the footprint of Southwestern College, it's not new. It's always been just terrific. So maybe you just give us a little bit of a nickel tour on the mission of the college.
Sure. We are the only institution of higher education in the South County of San Diego. Have a very strong history. We're celebrating our 65th anniversary this year. We were founded in 1961. And our service area is very much considered the South County of San Diego, but also Tijuana, Baja California. And so we are an option for higher education and career development programs, not only in our South County, but in our Tijuana region. Our enrollment is very, very strong. We're at about 34,000 headcount students.
Wow.
And so very significant presence for creating the next generation of leaders in our region, and we're very proud to have that as a part of our mission.
Well, we had your colleagues on for CETYS, and just a stellar group of folks, and all the folks you work with as well. And my ex-wife I work really closely with, Jane Schlosberg, was on a community group with you, not too long ago, doing some great stuff in the space of careers and all that business. It's sort of in the wheelhouse of the Classroom of the Future Foundation, which we're heavily involved in. But talk about this, the bachelor's program, the Transborder, and you got a bill that's pretty important that's coming down the road, right?
Yes, absolutely. The South County of San Diego is a very powerful binational economic region, and so we are very proud to have that as a part of our identity. But we have Assembly Bill 664 that's making its way through the California legislature right now. It's authored by Assembly Member David Alvarez, but also co-authored by Senator Steve Padilla. And essentially what that would do is allow Southwestern College to expand the number of baccalaureate degree programs that we would be able to offer at Southwestern College. Now, historically, that hasn't been a part of our mission. That's been reserved for the CSUs and the UCs. However, if you read the legislation, this would allow us to teach programs that are impacted at the CSUs and the UCs, therefore giving our students options to these degree programs where there's a regional workforce need in San Diego County.
Yeah, and I think that's wonderful that that space is being used that way. I'm a product of community college, and of course, and then San Diego State, Aztec for Life. Thank you very much in this area. But and I think when the 2-year schools or the colleges are now getting into this, it just spectacular, just opens more doors. And I'm preaching to the congregation on this. I want to talk more about that aspect, and of course, your strong relationship with the 4-year universities as well. SDSU, UCSD, Point Loma, National University, a longtime friend of ours. But something that when I bring this up to people, they go, "What the heck is dual enrollment?" I said, "It is, it's not a best kept secret with you guys. You guys know it very well, but to the lay public, not. That a kid can graduate from high school and they're leaving at age 18 with an AA degree." Mm-hmm. Talk about that. It's amazing. It's phenomenal.
It's amazing, and I think the CCAP dual enrollment is really a partnership with our local high school district. So in this case, the Sweetwater Union High School District. But it allows us to teach college courses embedded within the high school curriculum. So if a student is taking intermediate algebra trig at Southwestern College, they do not need to take a math course. At their high school, they're getting dual credit. So hence the terminology dual enrollment. But essentially what it is, it's an early college preparation model. And what I'm always amazed by, and you can definitely search this, but at San Jose Evergreen Valley College, as a matter of fact, it's today, their commencement ceremony, it's a 12-year valedictorian, 4.0 GPA, and is transferring to Berkeley and already has his Associate of Arts degree, or Associate of Science degree in mathematics. So again, it's just tapping into the talent that exists in our young people. So we have 3 high school graduates from the South County that will be attending our commencement ceremonies, graduating from their local high schools and then going on to the university. And one is a math and engineering a major. So this is not the first time. Last year we had Ivana Ruiz, who graduated from Olympian High School, finished with her Associate of Arts degree, and is at Yale University. And the year before that, we had Nicolette Luna, Bonita Vista High School graduated with us in an Associate of Arts in Journalism, and as a matter of fact, is graduating from UC Berkeley this semester. So very, very proud of tapping into that college or early college talent that exists in our region. And in August of 2025, we implemented a middle college on our Chula Vista campus where we have 9th through 12th graders taking a blended curriculum for their A through G graduation requirements in high school, but college courses in the afternoon. So,
no, I think the relationship you folks have with the K-12 area, I mean, obviously it's very strong with the 4-year university. One of my good friends and colleagues is on the show frequently, Moises Aguirre, and Moises, of course, superintendent of Sweetwater High School District, and I just love the collaboration. And you folks at Southwestern College have always been in that area of it, and I think what made you guys so successful and continue to make us successful is you meet those students where they are. Talk about how important that's in your DNA. Talk about that.
No, it truly is. And the 9th through 12th grade programming with Sweetwater is important, but we weren't happy with that. So we also expanded to the 7th and 8th graders. So for the past academic year, we've had 7th and 8th graders taking college courses at our Performing Arts Center in theater and dance. And a lot of our young talent actually performs as a part of the Old Globe as well as the Signet theaters. So it really is tapping into those the talent that exists in our community based on the passions that our students are demonstrating in terms of their personal and academic careers. So we meet them right where they're at and build the programming accordingly so that they can have an early college pathway to a degree.
Yeah, and as we've said this many times, those folks living in California are very fortunate. It's the strongest community college system in the world, probably in the solar system for that matter. And I know you work really closely with Greg Smith.
Yes.
Greg's just a great guy, frequent guest on the show just to talk about what they're doing. And could you laser beamed on, and it's not a knock on the 4-year schools at all. They're starting to get better at this. You guys have always been ahead of your game on focus on those pathways and those careers in this area. They've always been in that wheelhouse. And I just love the fact when they finish up with you folks, whether it's 2 years or longer, they're well on their way to going into their career and earning a livable income. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what I'm really proud about is just how the economy is evolving in the South County. So last May we had the opening of the Gaylord Resort and Convention Center, which
Beautiful.
is a huge economic engine in the South County, and it's just the beginning. But what people don't know is that our culinary program, our graduates actually is a feeder to the Gaylord Resort and Convention Center and all the restaurants and dining options that they have there. So it's a real-time opportunity for our students who have been educated through our programming to have career opportunities in the community in which they live. And historically in San Diego, those opportunities, and for our students in the South County, they've had to go to Center City or North County, but now they can work right there in their home community. And so that's just one example, but we also have students that graduate through our trades program in construction, as electricians, as plumbers, and go on to do very, very well for themselves in the trades. As a matter of fact, we have a graduate who's an electrician Saw him not too long ago, and he's making easily over $250,000 a year. He owns his own business, and pretty much works on his own terms. So, very, very proud of our graduates. But it's really those types of opportunities where there's the regional workforce needs that our programming is preparing our graduates for.
Yeah, and you folks have always been on the top of your game to work closely with the Workforce Partnership or EDC or the local chambers in this area and say, here are the jobs today. We'll see how many of them are going to be there tomorrow because things are shifting so much. When we get back from a break, I'm going to ask you about AI. Of course, you can't ask a school president about how they're handling AI, and you guys are on top of your game. Before we go to break, I wanted to hit on something that you brought up, Mark, and we're chatting with Dr. Mark Sanchez. He is the Superintendent President of Southwestern College. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We are the richest border town in the world, okay, and we know how critical it is. We just had Joaquin Lucan on, talking about how important is the relationship with you folks in making sure that we're having access to that border. But talk about how closely you work with your counterparts across the border. We talked about CETYS, but all the other, whether it's Canaco or any of the other organizations.
Yeah, we have amazing partnerships with our educational institutions in Tijuana, Baja California, and we really see it from the perspective of a talent management pathway. And I'll give you a specific example. We've partnered with CETIS to offer our lower division courses at CETIS that align with the upper division coursework offered by CETIS University. And of course, CETIS is WASC accredited, Western Association of Schools and Colleges. Right. So it's a very important designation that their curriculum is certified to meet the workforce needs. So we offer our courses there for students who can't come across every day. And it's an interesting phenomena because many of our students that are U.S. citizens now live in Tijuana, Baja California, and what has caused that dynamic is simply the cost of housing. Right. So for us to be able to offer our educational programming on both sides of the border is really removing barriers of travel for our students, but also understanding what the workforce needs are on both sides of the border. So CETIS did not have a STEM or they did not have a bioengineering degree.
Interesting.
So our faculty worked with their faculty to write the curriculum for that because there's a very real need for bioengineers in Tijuana and Baja California. So that's just one example where we can work together to develop the programming that's preparing our communities for the opportunities of today and tomorrow. And it's really through curriculum and program development, but ultimately it's partnerships. And so we have partnerships with CETIS, UABC, which is the Autonomous University of Baja California, which is their state university system. But we also have partnerships with Universidad Xochicalco, which does a lot of healthcare training programs on both sides of the border. So we're very proud to be in partnership with all of the institutions of higher education.
Yeah, and that just opens up opportunities for folks and just exposing them to so many things they weren't even aware that they can be exposed to. When we return, we're going to continue the conversation with Dr. Mark Sanchez, Superintendent and President of Southwestern College. We'll talk about AI and the aspect, the beauty of Southwestern College. There's a lot of it, of course. This is, if you want an experience, a college experience, you got athletics, you got arts, you've got everything. That's and right. This absolute misnomer, okay, or myth that the community colleges and the colleges can't offer this. You can get a whole aspect of it. I want to talk about your athletics as well when we return after this very short break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast in our 20th year, brought to you by the amazing folks at Mission Fed Credit Union, 60-plus years of just doing so many great things and so many causes in our community. So honored to have in the studio with us today Dr. Mark Sanchez, Superintendent and President of Southwestern College, just talking about all the courses you're offering, those baccalaureate degrees that work with cross-border different organizations. Obviously, this is a very rich border region, and the beneficiaries, of course, are the students that you work with and your colleagues down the road. But before we start talking about the athletics that go with the academics and the Performing Arts Center that you mentioned briefly, we talk about AI. And I don't know if there's an interview that we've had that we don't bring up AI somewhere in it. How is the faculty adjusting to it? How are the students adjusting to it? Talk about it.
Yeah, artificial intelligence is a rapidly evolving technology, and it's becoming more and more sophisticated. So it's been important for us. We have two different planning groups. We have an academic planning group, which involves our faculty and our students, about how to effectively integrate artificial intelligence into the students' learning experience. And then we have an operational planning group that's looking at how we operationalize artificial intelligence in terms of our college business practices, focused on efficiency and productivity. And so the first part of it with our faculty is one of the things we want to ensure is that we're not using the technology to replace a student's critical thinking abilities. And there's a lot of focus on the algorithms and how the programming goes into these certain tools with an equity focus, because we realize that some AI tools are better than others. For example, Claude, which is a paid subscription of about $100 a month, compared to ChatGPT, the algorithms in Claude are more sophisticated and more accurate when you're running different inquiries through their algorithms. And if you look at the investments that technology is making, technology corporations like Google just invested $1 billion in its AI infrastructure. What they're doing now is they're getting neurodivergent learners to build the programming and the algorithms, so that when someone maybe who is dyslexic is using those tools,
right,
they're going to get a more better output, because the programming has been built around those neurodivergent learners. So it's important for us to have a pulse on what's happening. I just read this morning that Intuit is laying off workers here in San Diego because they're boosting their investment into their AI infrastructure. So there's a real-time impact in terms of our workforce.
It is.
It's changing quickly. But what we want to do is make sure that the technology we're using is really preparing our students for those evolving workforce needs. And it's hard to predict because we don't know how sophisticated this is going to become. But we can already see that it's having an impact on our academic programming, but also the workforce.
Yeah, and you sort of touched on it a little bit. AI can't out-human humans, and we all know that. The partnerships and the behavior and mimic the behavior of somebody, which is so critical. And when it all comes down to everything, and this, Dr. Sanchez is more than anyone, just because of the deep relationships you have with everybody. It's all about relationships. It's all about those partnerships. And you can't always all do that by Zoom.
Right.
You're going to actually have to be in a room with somebody and shake their hand and all that aspect of it. And I think the ones who still understand that and get that, yes, certainly Zooms and all that have helped us save some time on stuff. Nothing can supplant when you go over and you're chatting with Greg and on some aspects of it, and talk about how important still that human interaction is.
No, it's critical, and I find Greg Smith to be an amazing partner in the San Diego region in higher education. But what a lot of people have to remember about artificial intelligence is how it drives student learning and student information acquisition. But what we also have to remember is the human element and the why many of our students come to a college campus. Yes, it's for academics, but it's also for the ancillary services that we provide, like food pantries, transportation assistance, childcare. And there's a significant body of research over decades that shares that really is a critical connection piece with our community, is those types of services for our students that also are in addition to their learning. So we can talk about learning and what that looks like in an in-person and online modality, but we can't forget the human piece of connecting them to the critical resources they need for day-to-day living.
So one of my favorite subjects, I'm a former sports writer, so I got more inconsequential information in my head than anybody in the history of humankind, I'll tell you that right now. But you're so proud of the academics and the athletics connection. Talk about that.
Yeah. We have a long-standing history of having very strong athletics at Southwestern College. We produce a lot of amazing student talent, and we also have to remember that that's a pathway for students to go on to the next level of higher learning, usually at the university level. I'll give you an example with the new laws around name, image, and likeness. College students can now get paid.
Yes, they can.
And so we had
San Diego State basketball about that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had two of our football players this year. Josiah Jefferson signed a name, image, and likeness contract with the University of Southern California. His older brother, Tony Jefferson, plays for the Los Angeles Chargers, is a cornerback, our safety. And so Josiah is well on his way, signed a nil contract for $450,000. And then we had another local student, Noah Rodriguez, a South County high school graduate, came to us, was a lineman, signed with the University of North Carolina, which is Jordan-sponsored. Their athletic program is Jordan-sponsored, but he also signed a nil contract for $450,000. So these opportunities are changing the lives of our student athletes.
Absolutely.
And so we've built and we've invested in our programming to help facilitate stronger student athletic enrollment. And so our basketball coach is Tyrone Shelley, who played for Steve Fisher at San Diego State. And our football coach is Oscar Rodriguez, who came to us from Akron University, but has
the Zips,
but has also coached NFL talent like Tyreek Hill, and so now he's leading our program. And we've gone from a losing program. I think in 2024 we won 3 games, and this past year we won the Southern California championship. We beat Palomar. So we've reversed the success of our programs, but our athletic programs are very, very strong.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. This won't be the last time you'll be on the show, probably to your detriment. But there's so much content that comes out of Southwestern College that we want to continue at future interviews on this. But what can our listeners do? How can our listeners support the amazing work that is going on at the college, certainly with your professors and instructors and everybody in between?
That's a great question, and one of the things I always talk about with our community is demystifying this notion that community college is less than. I'll tell you, I started at Southwestern College in the fall of 1989 as a first-time college student, and it was not a Plan B choice. As a matter of fact, I was accepted to UC Santa Barbara and San Diego State right out of high school. The reason why I chose Southwestern is because I was a varsity basketball player at La Jolla High School, and I wanted 2 more years of eligibility at the collegiate level, and that was really the most significant reason why I chose Southwestern, but it was a first choice. But what people have to understand in our community is that the community college is an excellent choice for students who may not quite be ready to go away and go on to the university economically, but also from a development perspective. And what we have to keep in mind now is that we've blended the lines between a community college and a university. And the reason why I say that is starting this August 2026, just a couple of months away, for the first time in Southwestern College's history, we have the University of California, San Diego, San Diego State University, CSU San Marcos, that will be offering in-person baccalaureate degree programs on the Chula Vista campus for our students who can't travel to La Jolla, La Mesa, or San Marcos to get those bachelor degree programs. And starting in the fall of 2027, we will have the University of Southern California, USC, teaching graduate and doctoral programs in person on our Chula Vista campus. Now, it will require some participation at the USC campus in Los Angeles, but the bulk of the curriculum will be taught in Chula Vista.
Well, now, first of all those things are impactful, life-changing, game-changing as well. And really appreciate you coming on, Dr. Sanchez. There's a lot more that we're going to continue. We'll work with Sophia on getting you back on the show and talk about the other areas that we can do. Our whole focus is shedding a light on the amazing work that is going on at all of our colleges and our universities in the K-12 system as they mesh with organizations such as the Regional Chamber of Commerce, the EDC, and the most important thing, and this is in your DNA, that yours personally and of course at the schools, is how are we preparing these kids to stay in San Diego and using all the things they've learned here and boosting our economy. Dr. Sanchez, what a pleasure chatting with you. We'll look forward to having you back on.
Thank you, Drew. It's been amazing to spend this morning with you. Thank you.
Absolutely my honor. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest running community podcast, brought to you by the wonderful folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 60 years of doing great things for people living in San Diego County. And to our audience, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.